Welcome back, boys and girls. This is K1, and we're going to do another bit of painting today. We are not doing anything specific. We got our models here that we're painting, right? And what we're going to do is just go over it, do some detailing, maybe do some washes. Basically, we're just going to pick out stuff that still needs to be done. So it's mostly going to be detailing and basically looking over the model and see what it is that we have left to paint, or see what we've missed. And then from there, we're going to see where exactly we're going. It's not going to be too long as far as the video goes, and we're going to see exactly where we're at. So, yeah, these are our models here, and we're basically just going to work on them and see what we have as far as detail wise. I'm going to go over right now the stuff that we've already done, and that is the cloaks, the green part of it. We do some dry brushing, do some washes like we had before. See, I'm looking right here and I'm seeing some of the stuff that needs to be painted. I see some brown here which I can get into, or I can leave. And the part that's the quiver down here at the bottom, you can see there's a line here, and that line is supposed to be showing off what's underneath, which is the brown, which you can see at the top of the quiver here. So we also have this this bow, which I'm not liking. This I want to call it like a bubonic brown or whatever that is. I think I'm gonna go more for this terracotta color that this other Wood Elf has, and then I'm gonna see where we go from there. I do remember that the brown was a little bit difficult to work with, so I'm gonna see exactly what's going on. And I will be doing some mixing of the paints. For some reason, I think I'm going to be using yellow a lot, just because yellow you can mix in with, well, I don't know, say some of this green here. And if you really wanted to, you can go crazy. There's some, that's not the color I was actually looking for. That is a purple, which is not what I'm looking for, and we are not going to use the purple at all. What it is, there we go. It's that blue color that I was looking for. You can tell these are a little bit thick. Almost seems like I need to replace them. But apart from that, I am going to take some of this green which seems to be almost the right color. It just seems like it's a little bit bright. But if I darken it, I don't want to use brown. So what I'm going to do is actually give it a little bit of water, because I'm not going to be using a lot. I think right now I'm just going to touch up the cape and see if I have anything else that I have to do this color or paint. And then I'm going to go from there. So I'm going to take that, get some of this blue here, you see the blue, right, and then mix it in, which will give it the darker green color, right? Just kind of what we were going for, but we don't want to lose that green here. So what I'm going to do is, in my warm water, first I'm going to make sure I get all that green and blue off of it, and take some of this yellow here, and then throw it in there. I should have maybe put these colors down on the back side, but here they are. So you see this green is not as bright as that green. It's not like this super grassy, bright green, but it is a nice color green, and this is what we're looking for. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go inside the cape here and just paint the cape green right here. On the outsides mostly. You can do the cape all the way on the inside and do all of it. But this is just basically, I like how when I point this underneath the light, I get a natural shadow. So actually what I'm going to do is go along with the shadow that my light is casting on the model. And that's where I'm going to put this green, this lighter green color, which will make it look like, when you pick it up and you look it under the light, you're going to see this shadowy looking form on the back of the cape. And people are going to be like, oh, that kind of looks like if the light, there's a shadow there, even though the light is hitting it and you can clearly see that it's just painted differently. It looks like there's a shadow, which means the guy who painted this wanted it to look like there's a shadow in that spot, so he painted it that way. So people are going to be like, oh wow, that looks awesome. You painted a shadow on your model, which is basically what we're doing. I'm going to go in here and get some of these parts that are just straight black, and with what's left of the paint, because I already used a lot of it on the bottom part of the model, I'm just going to run it in and just kind of dab it. Just push it in and let the bristles, whatever paint it has left, just let it go onto the model itself right here on the cape. So it's no big deal. You're not going to do this whole big paint job on it. You're just basically going in and doing a little bit of the details and picking up spots that you missed. That's all you're doing right now, right? So that much is pretty much done. Or that area is pretty much done. This is a pretty thin layer. As you can see, the spot that I already did this mixture is already pretty much gone. So if there's anything you need to do, you want to do this quickly. And remember, you're doing an assembly line like I am. So this green color that I just used, you could use it on all your models. You just have to do a sufficient blend. So this little bit of thing that I did right now is probably not going to be enough to go through all your models and do it with. But with one or two it is. So I only have two here, which is enough with what I did on my blend. Right? If you need to, you could add a little bit of water just to make it stretch. But this other model is pretty much good to go. We've gone over it a couple times. The dry brushing has really gone in there and got all the spots that would be missing in paint. I'm going to just do a little bit right here because the top seems to be missing. I mean, it kind of looks like there was a shadow from the bow, but even if you do a thin layer on there, it'll still come out to the same. And then underneath, sometimes you do tend to miss those spots. You can go back and remix this and put in a darker tone of green on the bottom instead of just a tone, so it won't look like everything just a flat green color. But that's up to you. Now from the last time, what I did was I took a little bit of this light brown and mixed it in, and I got this lighter brown color and I just edged it across these, I don't know, belts or whatever you want to call the armor that's in the middle section there, which made the raised parts pop, and it gave it that shadow look, or that shadow coming across, like where each strand or belt or whatever piece of armor was overlaid. I did the same thing with these little sewn parts, which I made it look like it was sewn with leather or something. And same thing with this model on this side. I did the same thing there. So I made a mistake here, and I put all this on one side. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to turn this, and then I'm going to check to see how it looks. Okay, so we have that there, and then we have this here. So this is going to be my painting space. Okay, so I'm going to go on with this, and you have your hot water on the side. And I think I'm pretty much done with the green, unless I have to go back and touch something up. Right? So like I was saying before, I'm going to take some of this brown. Right. And then I'm going to take some of this white here. Sorry, I kind of stopped there. And I'm hoping to get this same kind of brownish color that you see here. Yeah, there you go. Nice ashy wood color. Alright, so I'm going to take some water here. You know, maybe I don't need the water. So I'm going to just wipe off my brush, get all that water off that I had. I'm just going to do a regular wash. It already has enough water from when I thinned it down. And then I'm going to see what I can do. Here we go. Now, having painted it this color, I saw that this bow has a symbol right there. And so I'm going to leave that symbol in that other color as much as I can. Oops. See? That's alright. I'm just using my nail and wipe off any excess paint that I got in the wrong area. There you go. And just keep going. Just keep going. You've already thinned down the paint, so it's thin enough to where it'll work and it won't look gunky. But it's thick enough to where you will not need so many coats of paint, especially since you already have a coat of paint on there. It's basically the color that you don't want, the bubonic brown, or whatever that color you want to call it, that yellowish brown color. It's already on there as sort of a base coat or a primer, however you want to think of it, and it's just making your job easier. And the fact that it's a bright color, not a dark color, is really going to enhance the ashy wood tone that you're applying as your final piece here. Now maybe you want something that's a little bit darker, something that has a little bit more wood. You can add some more brown to it. It'll make it look a little bit darker. Or I really don't want to be adding yellow, even though it gives it back that brownish color, simply because we have the yellow that we're trying to go over. So I don't want to bring it back too much to that color. I want it to be significantly different. I do have this terracotta looking color, which I think has more red in the brown than yellow, which is why it gives it that hue. It's kind of like a, I don't know how to explain it exactly. It's kind of like a muddy tone. It looks like mud, like a fresh mud. Or this red earth, red dirt mud. If you guys ever saw Beverly Hills Cop 2, and you remember that reddish mud that was on there, on the shoes, and that was the big clue, just like to where it was that the big thing was going down. I'm not gonna say it, even though it's an old movie. Some people may not have seen it, so I'm not gonna spoil it for you. But I'm just talking about the color of the mud, essentially. So if you haven't seen it, go watch that movie. It's a fun movie. It's entertaining. Back when Eddie Murphy still had like his funny movie streak. Not that some of his movies now aren't funny. It's just that it's you know, he's done some Disney movies, so it's not the same. You know, he's got an image, and he's got to be family friendly, which is what the third Beverly Hills Cop was more like. It was more family friendly, and it was done more, I guess, PG than anything else. Right, so as you can see, both of these should be about the same color. This one is a little bit darker, this one's a little bit lighter. But that's also to be expected since this was painted over black and this is painted over a lighter, kind of brownish, light brownish tone, right? So, maybe I should pull out some black here. Which we're not going to need much of, right? And then I'll take some of this brown here. Add some water. Add a lot of water. Take some of the black. Add some of this black in here. There we go. See? And then I'm going to take that and then wash it over. Which will darken it up, and it'll get into this symbol that we want to stand out amongst the bow, right? This one doesn't matter if it gets all over the place here. I mean, the bow on the bottom part is the brown, and the bow, the rest of it is a nice brownish color. Which, if you go over this, it'll just make it a little bit darker, and it'll get into the recesses and give it a nice dark shadowed look. But if you go over the rest of this lighter brown that we did, it'll dull it down, give it a little bit of a darker brown color. But it will really go over this light brown symbol. And then there you go, see? So you just went over with kind of a wash, which is great. And I can actually use this wash if I wanted to. And look, so you go over the boots here, and which will make it look darker, right? And I don't need much. It's just really watery, it's real washed down paint. And just go over it like that, and there you go, see? And that one is pretty much done. So like I was saying before, if you have an issue where you went over some of the lighter stuff, like if I hadn't edged some of this and I wanted to go in there and get the recess, I could throw the wash in there and then just run my finger or a paper towel over the raised surfaces, and it'll go in there and grab the crevices. I'll get in there in the crevices and stay in there and allow you to clean off the raised areas, the surface areas, and then it'll give you a nice shadow, right, as you can see here. There you go. See? See how that's working out? That's exactly what you want it to look like, right? So that came out quite nicely. If you want, we do have some more gold in there if you want to paint it. If not, you don't have to. You figure out a different color to paint it. So I don't know if I will be doing the eyes, but I do know I want to do some of this green. So I'm going to take some more of this greenish color. It looks like a grass green, but it's not what it's called. This is a light green. It doesn't really have a specific name like titanium white or bestial brown or burnt umber or whatever it is. It just says light green. So we'll take some of this light green, and then we're going to just dab our brush that's not full of water. Just dab it in the blue. Mix it in there. Just to give it a little bit of a darker tone or a different tone of what it is. But I do, like I said, I want to do a lighter color of it. So I'm going to do yellow. See how it's a different color yellow from there, or green from there. And then I'm going to do actually, I need to have more yellow on there. I was going to do some of those lines on the back. There we go. Then I'll give it a light green color. Still from the same spectrum as the rest of the model. Right? This actually I might think be too much. So I'm going to wipe some of this off, make a point, and then go back to painting these. As you can see, some of this has white dots or something that's like a white with a touch of green, which is what I was using for the sash here, whatever it is hanging down. This one is to be a little bit too thick, so I'm going to take this more of a spotter brush, wet it, and then pick up some of this paint here. I don't want to be too washy, right? And then I'm going to go over these areas. What's happening is it's going to give this really brightish green color over the areas that are painted white. And it's really going to make those areas on the back pop. Well, I'm still going to be going over with the same paint this lightish green color. So as you can see, it's really making this area where it's painted white pop, while at the same time going over some of the rest of it. And I'm going to do the same thing with these gems in the back. There you go. And as you go over it, you can see some of these other contrasted colors on the gems. They're really starting to blend in. As you can see right here, it really blended it all in. Alright, so that's what we were going for here. And if you want, you can give it a... This is a little bit... let me see, what am I going to do this? Let's see what I got with this color over here. See, this is that... Yeah, no, that's a little bit too grainy. I don't want to really use that. I keep getting paint on the bottom of my hand. This because I really want to get in there and show you guys everything that I'm doing. So I'm not going to do the bow or anything else. I like where I'm at with that color. But back here, I'm going to give it a little bit of a highlight. Right, and these gems, you know what? I'm going to use some of this gold. Just because I really wanted to pop. This light green, almost looking yellowish, is looking good. And I want to make it all pop. And so I'm going to paint it some of this gold color here. So that's going to be part of the housing for the gems, part of the necklace, I guess you want to call it. Alright. You want to be careful when you're painting it because you don't want to get it into the browns or anything else. Kind of like what I just did. Then you got this whole situation that you're going to have to deal with. Alright, so I wiped off some of that paint, so I'm going to have to put it back. And there we go. There we go. Make this point here, and then I'm going to do is just barely touch it. Be very careful. You got to remember where your point is. If you see it start to fray out, you're going to want to stop and turn your brush or twist it, whatever you have to do. I'll pour more paint on it and wipe some off. Make sure you got a nice point. Right. Maybe that's what I need to do here. Got some more paint. And just get the point of it. If all you can do really is kind of touch the model where you want the paint to go, just do that. A little bit of paint and then just touch the model. And let the paint do the work and get on there. Remember, when you push down on it, the bristles are going to bend. If you know which way they're going to bend, that'd be best. And you just use it to kind of add a paint to where you want to go. Right? You make a point so that the very tip has the paint and where it's going to be applied. You want to be very careful. See, I messed up right there. So I need to wipe that off as soon as possible. There we go. And then I will continue to go and go to the outside. Alright, so it's going to look like that. A little bit of the gold highlighting the gems in the back. Alright. Take some of this green, if you did go over parts of it, and just paint it down green, and you'll be fine. Alright? There we go. If you did go over it, just paint it green like I said, and you'll be fine. There you go. See? So you now have gone over. You've given that whole bow a wash there. You've painted the armor. You have different colors here, so it looks like a pattern, which is going to be a little bit different than what you see here with the regular one, simply because we took this is the aspiring champion. We took a little bit more time painting him and doing some of the details a little bit more intricately than we regularly would. Oops, there's more paint I'm taking up in my hand. Alright, Alright, so we're going to, let's see where we're at now. These are just some of the details. Now if I want, I can go and use this gold here like I said. And you know, I'm going to put on the sword here, on the hilt, and just kind of bring it out. You can add some water to this paint, thin it up, and really just get in there. But you wanted to localize the painting to just the hilt. So you want to be careful on how much you get in there, and you don't want to touch anything else. You just want to stick to the hilt. Right? Stick to the hilt, and you're fine. It gives a little bit more of a contrast. Right? So as you can see, I've gone in with the hair and I've done some highlighting. I'm going to actually do a little bit more. Right? Added a little bit of water. And then I'm going to switch up brushes just because this is very thin hair, the details. And I'm just going to be getting some of this top raised part. There you go, see? Like I said before, you can just use the side of it and just use the edge of the brush and paint these. You can do little side strokes to make it for each knot on the model. Because you know when you braid it, you have these little knots or edges or whatever they're called in the braid. And you just do that, you flatten it out, and then you hit the raised areas here, which will come out in yellow. There you go. See? You get that all over. And it doesn't have to be even. Like, you don't have to go the whole, every single piece of it yellow, so it'll be exactly. Because you know, some hair it looks yellowish, but it looks like different colors of yellow. So when you do it, just remember that it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to get every strand looking exactly the same. If you have something a little bit different, it's fine. It actually might even work better. So a little stuff like that, just keep in mind. Or if it works better with your stories, you can do that. If you want to paint insignias, like I just saw that, the little mistake I made and I wiped off the paint. If you want to make insignias, you can do insignias and just put it on here. You just have to have a very steady hand and a thin brush. Which I'm not sure if you want to go through and do it, but that's up to you. It's your choice. You can do it however you like. I'm thinking maybe I can show you with this model because you can see the eye a little bit more. I am going to use this black here. And I don't want to be too thick. I want a thin line. And it's already black here because I haven't really painted the eye. Right? So I just want to see where I'm at. Do that black right there. And if you want to add a little brown here, you can add a little brown. And then just kind of do an eyebrow very lightly. Right there. Right? And then take some of this white here that I've been smashing my hand in. And we don't want it watery, because if you have it watery, it's just, as soon as you touch it, it's going to spread. what we're going to do is we're going to get a light little point and just dab it with white. Just a slight point like that, and dab it with white. Right? That's all you want. A slight point. This is going to be on the innermost part of the eye, and you want to make sure that you have it into an exact point. Right? Right, so we're going to do right here. Just dab it with white. Just a little point. Not sure if you can see that one. I'm going to try it again. Hopefully I don't ruin it. There you go. You can see the eye right there. 2 little points of white paint on either side of the black line that you made, and that'll give you a pupil. And it'll bring they'll bring the whole face together so it doesn't look like it's just an eyeless doll, which this one is going to look like, because I'm not really going to go in there underneath the mask and try to paint the line and everything. But these are rank and file soldiers, and they'll go nice and neat along with the rest of your models.